Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. We are back at the GCNKA offices this morning for the next edition of our weekly member spotlight. Super excited this morning to be talking with Miss Leah Pittman with AnyWeather Roofing. And I'm really excited about this week because the spirit of what we're doing here with this weekly member spotlight is just to get to know our members a little better. And Leah is someone that I've not had the opportunity to spend very much time with, so this whole interview process is going to be informing for me as well, and I'm very excited about that. I do want to let everyone know that next week is Thanksgiving, so we're not going to have a weekly member spotlight on Friday, so be sure to tune back in the following week for that. So, Leah, let's go ahead and get started if you're ready. Ready?
Sure am.
Well, first, thank you very much for getting down here on a Friday morning. I appreciate that very much. Let's talk a little bit about how long have you been in the apartment industry?
I've been in the apartment industry about 3 years now. I have kind of a varied background. I've been in for-profit, I've been in non-profit, I've been in government, and now I'm back in for-profit.
Oh, wow.
So, yes.
So you've been into the GCNKA for the last 3 years or so?
Yeah. When I started back into for-profit, I started with Mr. Roof,
Okay.
and that was one of my duties.
Wonderful. So you've not been in the industry all that long, but tell us about anything exciting or funny or an interesting property management story that you've encountered so far.
I can't say I have too many of those, but what was interesting is when I first started with Mr. Roof, one of the things that I did was when I jumped in, the first apartment association event I did was the golf outing, and I was so nervous because I didn't really understand how this was going to work, how me coming in from nonprofit event management was going to work on the for-profit side.
Right.
And especially with a roofing company, I was like, I have no idea how this is going to work. You know, I'm used to raising money and asking people for money, and
Right.
now I'm looking for something totally different. Had no idea what I was going to do. And so here I am sitting at a golf outing and had no idea how is this going to work. And here comes this foursome, and out pops Victor Schneider from Town Properties, and I was like, I know him, oh my gosh, I know him. And I was so excited because I finally knew somebody.
Right.
And so Victor was like, and he knew me, he recognized me too, because Town was a great supporter of the Leukemia Lymphoma Society, and they still are. They support Light the Night, and they support the golf outing, and so it was just nice to have a familiar face right there. And then I remember too that one of my coaches from my team and training days at Leukemia Lymphoma Society, Brian Forrester, he's also him and his father do property management. So then at a general meeting, you know, Brian made sure that he was introducing me to people as well. So it was just one of those really nice things to have people that you knew kind of help you to move into the industry.
Right.
So it was nice to be able to kind of flow in.
Wonderful. Well, I see you at all the events. I know you're very involved with the association. What kind of committees are you on, and what do you do with the association?
So the first thing that I started to do was just envelope stuffing. I kind of popped in one day, I saw that, they needed volunteers. Nancy had sent out an email, we need some volunteers to envelope stuff. Well, in nonprofit, envelope stuffing is a very key thing, so I know how important it is to get people to come and envelope stuff. I was like, hey, I can do that. I'm really versed at envelope stuffing, so let me go and check that out. So I had started coming to envelope stuffing, and they were like, hey, well, why don't you come be on membership committee? And I was like, okay. So I started on membership committee with Patty, and that's what I've been doing most of the time. And then recently I joined education and champions of leadership. So
wonderful. Well, I see you all over. I saw you at Maintenance Mania last night. That was a good time.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of new folks getting into the industry. Do you have any advice, being somewhat new yourself, to folks who are just getting into the association or getting involved with the apartment industry?
Yeah, so, I went from one of the larger roofing companies, now with AnyWeather. AnyWeather is a much smaller company. They're a family-owned company. So, going from a company that had a much bigger budget to a smaller budget, it is a different kind of thing, and you've got to kind of, manage your budget a little bit differently, and so I look at things a little bit differently. The apartment association is for everyone, and whether you're a diamond sponsor or, you have maybe only $1,500 you can spend, you can manage this and you can manage relationships. This is relationship building. It's not about coming and selling yourself every time that you're at an event. This is just about building the relationship like we're doing today. I mean, we haven't got to sit down and talk, and that's it. There's so many people to talk to and to get to know and to build those relationships with. So it's just about coming and being involved as you can. So find what you're passionate about and just learn. So I'm involved with a B&I group, a business networking group, as part of what I do for AnyWeather. And we were sitting one day, and one of the asks from one of the other companies, actually BA Appliances, who is a new member of the association, Adam, he was asking for a property management company. So I kind of took him aside afterwards, like, well, if you'd like to, get this property management company, I think you need to come on over to the apartment association. Right. So he and I had a one-to-one, and we sat down and we talked about it. And then I also told him, I was like, it's not just about showing up, it's about being involved. Right. So you need to be involved. Right. You need to find what your passion is, and then you need to kind of go after that. Because you can come to a committee meeting, you can sit on a committee meeting, you can attend events, but if you're not involved in what's going on, people aren't going to know who you are. You were just a face that was there.
And if you're always talking to the same people too, which is one of the things that I was like, I'm not sure how to insert myself into a conversation or get to know someone when you don't really have a common thread or understand. So I think the networking piece is like so important, and getting to know a little bit about people so that we are more approachable when we see each other out and about at the events and the different kind of activities that the association puts on. I think that's super important too.
Right, and being on membership committee, I try to, I know I still wear a new, because with AnyWeather being a new member as well, I have the new membership tag on my name tag, but I try to be aware of any new members that are coming in and make sure I kind of go around and introduce them as well.
Right.
And so that they aren't feeling like we're kind of cliquish, because sometimes it does feel that way when you're new.
Yeah.
It's not that we are, but you just kind of feel that way because, again, some people have been in this for 20 years or longer, and they all know each other. So it's just kind of breaking that because, again, you have been friends, and you make a lot of friends, and that's it. I love that, you make a lot of friends, and you're doing this from the outside. So I'm gonna go meet up with some people tonight for a happy hour. It's not just what we do here, like Maintenance Mania last night, but you're gonna go meet up for a happy hour, or you're gonna go to a ball game, or do something outside of here. So you're making friends and not just building relationships that you use for work.
Agreed. I was gonna say something. I really like your job title. What's it?
Relationship development.
Relationship development. I haven't seen that before, and I think that's very nice. I like the sound of that, and I like the spirit of it. Well, can we dig into a few personal questions about you so we can really get to know Leah Pittman? All right, well, let's start with an easy one. What's the last book that you read?
I'm currently reading Janet Ivanovich's, 24? Hardcore 24.
I love those books.
Oh my gosh, she is
Stephanie Plum novels?
Yes,
yeah.
She is probably my guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's one book that I have ever read that she's written that I don't laugh out loud.
Yeah. Did you see the movie? They did a movie.
They did, and I was very disappointed in the movie.
Too.
I would have cast that movie so differently. Yeah. I already had people in mind for that movie, and I was like, oh, so disappointed.
Maybe they'll do it again.
Yeah, if they ask me, I'll tell them who they could cast. I'm thinking The Rock should have totally been in that movie.
Oh, wow.
Wouldn't he have been Ranger?
Totally.
Totally
Ranger. Oh
totally Ranger? Yeah.
Sandra Bullock.
Exactly. I totally had her pegged for that.
Yeah. I had so much fun, when they announced they were going to make that movie, just thinking about who, and that was 10 years ago that they made it or so, but yeah, they should revisit that.
I know, and again, we can cast it for them.
Exactly.
Stephanie Plum, give us a call, Janet, we'll get you set on that.
Right.
But yeah, so that's my guilty pleasure. Lately though, I always try to kind of, go back and forth between that, and lately I've had a leadership book that Mary Haladia wrote, that is a great leadership book, and then she also does every Monday, she does leadership tidbits that anybody on Facebook can go there. She does a 10-minute leadership bite on Mondays.
Oh, wow.
And because I believe a lot of people don't understand that you can be a leader without being in any type of management position. And so Absolutely. She does great leadership bites, and so her book is kind of what's wrong with us in developing leaders currently in this situation, and so how to kind of develop your leaders.
Oh, that's fascinating. I'll check that out, and it'll be in your post. We're going to make a post in a little while with all of your answers and stuff, so we'll have the name of that author, and that's I like that. I love finding those motivational leadership type tidbits, especially because who doesn't have 10 minutes, right?
Right, and it's on a video on Facebook, so you can as you're getting ready in the morning, just watch that on Monday morning, and what a great way to get started for your week.
Awesome. Well, what do you do in your off time, Leah?
I try not to sit still. I do a lot of volunteering.
Okay.
Anybody who knows me knows that. Kind of my passion is helping people. and sometimes, you know, that overwhelms people. It's like, I like to help too much. Sometimes, you know, my friends have to say, Leah, you're helping too much. Stop. I do a lot of volunteering for the Ken Anderson Alliance. For those of you who don't know what the Ken Anderson Alliance does, they are helping adults with disabilities, developmental disabilities. They're trying to build a community that adults with developmental disabilities will live, work, and play. So currently what they do are play groups, and they do a lot of those during the month. So adults with disabilities can get together and go out and do different activities, whether it's like go to a ball game or maybe bowling or even having a game night or different things like that, so that they're not shutting through their homes.
Okay.
But what happens is a lot of times, if people have children with autism or Down syndrome or things like that, what happens when those caregivers are gone?
Mm-hmm.
What happens to their protection? You know, they're someone to make sure that they're not taken advantage of.
Right.
So what's happening is they're trying to build this community where they'll be able to live in a protected community.
Oh, wow.
And they're looking for even retired clergy and retired teachers and stuff to live in this community as well. And there would be a place for them to work and to play and to live. And so it would be like an apartment complex.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, as part of this, I'm like, I need you to also meet the people in this group too. So
Yeah.
it was kind of like a win-win situation. And I have my cousin who was the same age as my son, who passed away 2 years ago. He was on the spectrum, and he would have been a key component into this community. And so it kind of was, you know, near and dear to my heart. And then my best friend is their event manager. So,
Oh, wow.
and so I've been doing a lot of volunteering and helping there on that end.
And what's it called again?
The Ken Anderson Alliance.
Ken
So it is
Anderson
Ken
Alliance.
Anderson,
Okay.
you know, who played for the Bengals.
Yeah.
And so I hang out with Ken Anderson a lot now too.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah, people are like, is it like the Ken Anderson? I'm like, yep, it's the
one
Ken
and
Anderson.
only.
So that's been kind of cool, you know, and then I volunteer for a lot of other organizations as well, because when they find out that I worked in nonprofit and
Right.
I kind of have that nonprofit background,
Right.
they kind of want to, you know, pick your brain.
Oh, yeah,
and
I
use that.
bet.
So, you know, I've done all kinds of things. I worked for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society before. I worked for the American Diabetes Association, and I go back and I volunteer with those as well, because again, they're still near and dear to my heart, even though I
Yeah.
don't work for them anymore. There's still, you know, groups that I believe that, you know, we need to still continue to go out and do things and help to
Right.
find cures for cancer and help with diabetes. And, you know, there's so many things out there that we can help with that, you know, if I can volunteer, you know, your time, a lot of time is worth more than
Oh,
the dollar that
absolutely.
you can give,
Right.
so.
Well, what is your favorite food or restaurant to visit?
So I try not to pick favorites anymore, because when you pick favorites, then you kind of stick with those. So I'm trying to like open myself up and not pick
Fair.
favorites, so that I experience more things in life. So my
Very
thing
good
is,
concept, Leah.
my thing is to try to do more and to experience more. So, you know, I try to, you know, pick at least something new every couple weeks to go and
Okay.
try. So I was down at, what is it, and I'm probably gonna say it wrong, what was it? I don't even remember the day of the week. It was Wednesday night? Starter? Is that what it is? But down by, it's SARTRE, down by, Ryan Geist?
Okay.
Right there at the
Yeah,
end of Ryan
yeah.
Geist.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
we were down there.
Okay.
So that
It
was
was good?
Yes,
I
and
like
very
that
neat.
philosophy very much. That's pretty good.
Yeah, so just trying
And
to pick
keeping
new-
yourself open to try whatever.
Yeah,
Your
you know.
favorite limits something. I might have to change our approach here. I like that.
Well, it's hard, you know. If you pick something favorite, then it's like, okay, then I'm kind of just sticking with that one
Right,
thing.
right.
I like, you know, things in general. So let's try something new.
There you go.
You know, I like food.
Yeah.
Food is
I'm
good.
with ya.
So let's go with something, you know. Try it again.
Well, I know because we had a little pre-conversation here in the office with Michelle about pets. I know you're very passionate about pets. Tell us about your pets now.
So I have 2 dogs at home. I have Luna and Colton. They are both black lab mixes. Luna's about 65 pounds and Colton's about 35. They are only a month apart in age, which is crazy, and they are both rescues. Luna came from Heart, and Colton came from the League for Animal Welfare. And actually, Colton is actually famous. He was on the news about 3 years ago because he was lost over in Anderson. The family that had first adopted him out, he had escaped. And when he escaped, he was lost over there for I think like 7 or 8 days, and he was running across, I believe it was 8 Mile, and they had to trap him to get him. And it was kind of crazy. And so the whole reason we kind of got involved with that was because when I took on Luna, my kids were older, and I was like, I had never really trained a dog. Like, our dogs were well behaved, but never trained a dog. And I thought, I'm going to train this dog. So Wags Park wasn't far away, and when I called them, they hooked me up with Donna Krauser Moore, and she's a dog trainer. Well, she also works for the League for Animal Welfare. And so she was training Luna, and she is absolutely fabulous. When I walked in the first day, here she is sitting on the floor and letting the dogs just come up and I'm like, okay, this is definitely the woman I want to be around.
Yeah.
And when you sit with her and she's like, okay, I have no idea what day we're going to do what. So I don't know what day they're going to learn sit, or if we'll even learn lay, or what they'll learn. They tell me what we learn and how we learn it. And I'm like, all right, I like her. And actually, we've become great friends since, and I do a lot for the League for Animal Welfare, trying to support them and what they do, because they're a no-kill shelter.
Yeah.
So she was on the news one night, and you know how they fade in from the black into the news? Well, all you hear is her voice speaking, and Luna was going nuts because she heard Donna's voice, and Luna loves Donna. And I'm like, what is wrong? Well, and then I noticed it's Donna, and that's why she's going nuts. And here it is. They had found Colton, and so she was like holding Colton and talking about it, because he had been on the news that they had been looking for them, and now they had found him. And my son came downstairs, and he was like, what's going on? So he's like, oh, we have to go get that puppy. And I'm like, well, we don't do male dogs in this house. And I'm like, so no, we're not going to get him. Well, Colton lives with us. He's my major work in progress. He pretty much lives under my bed. He comes out to eat. He plays with Luna, but he's pretty shy of people. So we're not sure what they had found him in Kentucky at one point, so we don't know really what if he was feral or if he was abused. But he does come out at night to sleep on the bed. He does like to sit by me, and he lets me love him. And he has only let a few other people like love on him or even touch him, but he's my work in progress.
Oh, I love that. We had a really great conversation about the pets. What's your favorite TV show or movie?
Again, you'd have to go into genres when we do that, but I would have to say probably my most influential movie will have to be Star Wars, and that's because in the original movie of Star Wars, and if you pay close attention, which I did, they don't call her Princess Leia, they call her Princess Leah.
I can get behind that.
And so that was very influential on me.
Yeah.
So when I finally meet George Lucas, which was on my bucket list,
Yeah.
when I finally meet him, that's my first question to ask is, why'd you change the pronunciation of her name, and what is up with that?
That's funny.
But he had written such a strong character, such a strong female character in a time that there really weren't strong female characters. And I mean, he kind of kept her that way this whole time. I mean, she's general.
Yeah.
And now we see, unfortunately, that, we've had to take her out of those movies. And, but he never took that away. She was the strong character. She didn't really need saving. She was only looking for Obi-Wan's help.
Right.
She wasn't looking for it in every situation. She didn't need them to save her. She was trying to save them half the time.
So your namesake, I like that.
Exactly. And so, I've always said, well, I am the princess.
There
so
you go. Well, do you like sports very much?
Oh yeah.
Well, which do you prefer, I guess? Seasonal?
Yeah, pretty much seasonal. And I'm up for, like, I grew up in the Cleveland area. That's where I was born and raised. Okay. So every Cleveland team is my team. And for
even
anybody,
the Browns? No,
yes,
sorry.
even the Browns.
That was not fair.
You know what? That's okay. We are not fair weather fans. When you're born in Cleveland, you're born a Cleveland fan, and you die a Cleveland fan, and it doesn't matter win or lose. And we do sell out the stadium whether we're winning or losing.
That's a sign, right?
It is a
good solid fan base.
It's in the blood. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know which it is. I can't quite decide. But it's a lot of fun that way. But we didn't have a lot of like soccer, and so when I moved to Toledo when I was a teenager, there was a lot of soccer. So I still didn't really follow soccer. And then when we moved to Cincinnati and I had kids, they got into soccer. So soccer was something that I had to learn.
Right.
So again, I'm kind of open to any kind of sport that I haven't, been exposed to. I like to learn about sports. I like to attend sporting events. It's just fun for me.
Okay. Well, what's the, I think, maybe most memorable concert that you've been to? We won't say favorite, but what's the most memorable concert that you've been to?
So like I attended probably 6 or 8 concerts this summer alone. My my birthday was July 14th, so we had the riverboat cruise on the 13th. On the 14th, I was at Evanescence. On the 15th, I was at Janet Jackson. Then right after that, I was at Rascal Flatts. I attended Chris Jansen, Noah Smith, who's a local artist. I saw him down in Nashville, and then I got to see him here in Cincinnati, and I'll see him on the 21st. So I like music too, different genres too. But
concerts could be your pastime.
I like this. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. When your kids grow up, it's amazing how much time you have to go do the things that you didn't do before. But I would have to say probably Rascal Flatts would have been my favorite concert. It was the first time that I got to see them in concert, and even though it's been years since they, you know, were really big, their just presence on stage and the way that they.
Cleveland?
They're from Columbus.
Okay.
They're from Columbus.
They opened a restaurant in Cleveland at the Flats, which is the property that we actually manage, and I haven't been there yet, but they opened a restaurant.
I will
like, are they from Cleveland?
Well, you let me know and I'll attend with you. That would be great because
absolutely, I've been wanting to go.
you can also take a boat from the Flats over to the Cleveland Stadium when you attend a game. It's great. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering if they maybe like them from the hometown feel, but I didn't know they were from Columbus either.
Yeah, and when we were at the concert, actually Ken Anderson was there, and they did a shout out for Kenny because he didn't make it. It was just after Hall of Fame weekend, and he did not make it in the Hall of Fame again, which is sad. He probably should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
But you know, I think not only did they have great presence on stage, you know, they have great interaction with the crowd, you know, and I think it was the company that I had too. I had a great company for that concert. So.
Well, you mentioned your family a little bit. Will you tell us just a little bit about your family?
So I have two boys. I have a 22-year-old and a 20-year-old son, Cody and Jake, and they are my pride and joy. I say I'm successful because they graduated high school. They didn't go to jail. I don't have grandkids yet. Neither one's married, and they both have full-time jobs. So I say win.
Win-win. I like that.
Neither one decided to go to college. You know, Cody did attempt college, and he said, "Mom, this just wasn't for me."
Right.
And I'm like, "Okay, that's fine."
Right.
But then you have to go get a full-time job. So Cody is working for Spectrum now, and he's doing really well with them. And I'm really impressed at how well Spectrum's doing for him too, and the benefits that they provide for him. Jake he liked cars, so he started at Subaru, and he learned a lot of things on YouTube himself. Both attended the Oaks. They attended the Oaks their high school years, the last 2 years of high school, just to kind of figure out what they wanted to do. And actually, neither one, what they went to the Oaks for is not what they're doing, which is okay too, because again, I didn't pay for 2 years of college that they didn't end up doing either. So it works out too. I think that, you know, college is expensive. I didn't graduate from college until 2006. I did a lot of part-time college myself. Yeah. Even though I was one of those smart kids that want to go to college right after high school, and I did attempt that. But again, I didn't have the money to go. Right. And I'm still paying on that college debt. So, you know, kind of one of those lessons learned.
Well, successful, happy kids, what more do you want, right?
Well, that's it, you know, and if they want to go back to school, there's always that opportunity later for them. But, you know, if you can find something that you like to do, and then you can still follow your passions, you know, I found that I like to help people. And I can still help people with what I do with AnyWeather roofing. You know, is roofing exactly what I want to do? No, it's not exactly what I want to do, but I can still help people. And I can help people in so many different ways. So now I have dollars I can spend, so I can still help the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. I can still help the ADA. I can still help the League for Animal Welfare. I just help in different ways. You know, I can help the, you know, the Rent Foundation and all these other things that we do in different ways. So I can still do my passions, just in a different way, until I can figure out how I can do that full time or win the lottery or
there you
one
go.
of those things.
Well, we'll wind it down. I got one more question for you. Let's share an interesting detail about yourself. You've shared a lot, but I think you might have something just super random, nothing to do with the apartment association, just anything about yourself.
So, something that you probably don't know and won't find. So I completed the Ohio Fire Academy's Feel the Heat program. So that's where you actually get to go and be like a firefighter for the day.
Oh, wow.
So my dad was a fire chief. And he did not believe that women should be firefighters. So even though I would be at the firehouse most of my days and time, that was not something that he would allow me to do. My ex-husband was a firefighter because we started dating when we were 16 years old, and I lived at the firehouse.
Right.
So he was allowed to be a firefighter, but I wasn't.
Oh, wow.
And so my ex worked for the 2 female fire chiefs in the state of Ohio, and they believed in supporting women in fire service, so I got to do that, and it was probably
exciting.
one of the most exhilarating days of my life, because you know, here I am finally in fire gear, and I'm climbing up these ladders that, you know, go to the tops of the building, and I'm flying up with all this gear, and I'm dragging out a 200-pound dummy out of a building, and you know, getting to, you know, take the hose and charge it and take the fire down, and get to do all those things that I, you know, was never allowed to do.
That's really cool.
So.
Well, thank you. Leah, thank you so much. You've been so candid and so open. Thank you. I hope you all have enjoyed our video. We're going to make a post a little bit later this afternoon, and be sure to say hello to Leah if you see her out and about next time at a GCNKA event. Thanks, everyone. Happy Friday. Hope you all have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll resume in 2 weeks. Thank you.